Globally, labour disputes and industrial cases are a recurring phenomenon every government and institutions contend with every day. Given the dynamics of employment interrelationship and the challenges of society, the need to establish a specialised court to tackle disputes related with labour and industrial relations is very vital because of the obvious fact that regular courts are already saddled with enormous responsibilities and therefore should be spared the additional duties of handling labour and industrial cases. It is in this light that industrial courts are established by most countries. In Nigeria, the court saddled with the responsibility of handling labour-related issues and disputes is the National Industrial Court of Nigeria, NICN. The National Industrial Court of Nigeria was established in 1976 by the then military government through the Trade Disputes Decree No. 7 with a mandate to adjudicate trade disputes, labour practices, matters related to factories and all other employment matters in Nigeria. Following the demise of the second president of the NICN, Honourable Justice M.A. Borishade, in 2002, a vacuum was created in the leadership of the court. A list of 19 candidates was shortlisted to fill the vacant position after the post had been declared vacant by the then federal government. Of this number, a certain judge from the Ondo State Judiciary, who had been encouraged by his friends to apply for the position, was number 11 on the list and did not consider his chances of securing the job very bright. Even then, he was not very enthusiastic about the position, but as he would discover later, he was regarded as the best candidate among the lot by the powers that be, giving his integrity, uprightness, and dedication to duty. That man, His Lordship, Honourable Justice Babatunde Adejumo.
We had, if I remember, and then a short list was to be compiled and then forwarded to the president, who would then, out of the list, confirm which one is to become or was to become the president of the court. And as required by the law, I forwarded the names to the president, who was then President Olusegun Obasanjo, with my own recommendation. And based on that, he chose Honorable Justice Adejumo to be the president of the court.
Justice Babatunde Adejumo's lack of enthusiasm for the NICN position arose from the fact that he was enjoying a promising career at the Ondo State Judiciary as a judge and had all the possibility of becoming the Chief Judge of Ondo State or be elevated as a judge at the Court of Appeal. But fate and providence had other plans for him. Now, to buttress his lack of interest in the leadership of the NICN, an encounter he had with the then Chief Justice of Nigeria, Honourable Justice Mohammed Awais, gave enough reason to further dampen his lack of commitment. At that meeting, Justice Awais was said to have frankly advised him not to consider going to the National Industrial Court, as it was regarded as a dead end and would not enhance his promising career in the judiciary.
Justice Awais told me that I shouldn't go. It's a dead end. And I said, it's a dead end. So it's hopeless for me to go there. That he is of the view that I should wait till 2004. That was in 2003. And I should wait till 2004 so that probably I will go to Court of Appeal and eventually end up at the Supreme Court. I thanked him that, sir, you are talking to me as a father. I agree. What's of elders are ways of it. Yes, sir, don't you think somebody may make that dead end a living end?
Honourable Justice Adejumo showed interest in being a member of that court as president. And people were thinking it was going to be like the administrative panel that they used to have, so that if you get to for judges, that there is no any other court to aspire to, like Court of Appeal and so on, because it was regarded just as a specialized court. And so I believe that's one of the reasons why people refer to the position of the president of the court as dead end, because they can't move from there. They think from there to the higher courts, that is the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court.
But that advice, rather than dissuade him from considering taking up the offer if he got the job, did the contrary. It further emboldened him to take up the challenge of the office, even in the face of looming failure. And so, on the 14th of April 2003, his appointment as president of the National Industrial Court of Nigeria was announced by the federal government, and on the 5th of May 2003, he was sworn in as the third president of the court. Thus began a journey that would span close to 2 decades, a journey that would be filled with several unseemingly tough obstacles, but which would ultimately witness a major transformation in the affairs of the National Industrial Court of Nigeria, culminating in its attainment as a court of superior records. When Justice Babatunde Adejumo resumed office at the then headquarters of the NIC at this location on Oju Olobu Close, Victoria Island, Lagos, little did he know what was awaiting him. He was shocked with the condition he met. The office was anything but befitting of the headquarters of an industrial court. It was a twin duplex building that was always submerged in water whenever it rained. Lawyers were always reluctant to come to the court to prosecute their cases. His official residence was also not spared the same deplorable situation. Staff strength and the right caliber of personnel needed to run an institution like the industrial court was also a major issue. Majority of the personnel were non-professionals and thus lacked the basic legal skills. What's more, everybody was crammed in the twin duplex office.
Whenever I trained at the end of the work for the day, for you to come out from your car, you must put block by your car so that you can step on it. That was the situation.
I happened to follow him to Lagos when he wanted to resume at the office at Lagos. I could remember clearly then that when we were entering the office, it was like a swimming pool. We had to roll our trousers. Then, those of us that cannot afford to lose our shoes to water, we have to remove them and tactfully enter that office.
In fact, not just rains. We used to have this water surge from the sea, and it will overflow everywhere, including our courtrooms. We have just one courtroom there. And water overflows to come to everywhere. All Oju close, and sometimes when a branch to the building, the courtroom will be full of water. So the place was so choked up, to the extent that in some cases we don't have enough seats to sit. That two people might manage in a seat, and the kind of table we have then, we have to arrange it so that all of us can make use of the table.
It wasn't a court that any lawyer wanted to go to.
Funding was also a major issue bedeviling the operations of the NIC during this period. With a resolute determination to turn things around quickly and not sit around brooding over the negative situations around him, Honorable Justice Babatunde Adejumo swung into action. First was to relocate the court from its deplorable location to a more conducive and befitting place, and second was to find a way to improve on its funding from the government. He pulled the right strings and got the attention of the then president, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, who invited him for a meeting.
When we went to visit the president then, people thought I should ask for cars, houses, money. I told them that the man will send us back. He will send us back because he believed that every Nigerian who comes for such a thing, he was looking for money. And when we got there, he said, yes, President, and I said, what do you have for us? The ministers were there. He said, sir, thank you for appointing me. But NIC was your baby. You gave birth to it in 1976 and he started working in 1978. He's 25 years old today. As we speak, it cannot walk, it's still crawling. Talk less of running and bringing laurel. He said, why? No houses to walk, water is troubling us. I just told him everything. I continue to say, stop. I know the place, it's my friend. Engineer, look at this place, I do go there. You are saying the truth. And this is the first time that any delegation will visit him, either as a military head of state or as a civilian president, that they will not be saying no money, no car, no house, no salary. But I've come to tell him why the place is not functioning well. That for that I've won his heart. That whatever I want to make the court my dream, he and his he approved. And he called late Adejumo, the Minister of National Planning, to put National Industrial in a 3-year rolling plan. He called the Attorney General of the Federation, Chief Adejumo, to join hands with me to come out with a law and an enabling act for the National Industrial Court. He called Yaya Ahmed, the head of service, to join hands with the Minister of Housing, Mama Shomo, to relocate us from Victoria Island to the government building in Ikoyi. And he did. It rained heavily. The whole court flooded. My house in Ikoyi was flooded. The court was the best were floating. I managed and I rode. I came in the night. In the morning, I got to Abuja very early. And I met Yaya Ahmed. This is the situation. Now I should go to number 31. That church in Ikoyi and take over the place. I took over the place. From my Abuja, I just reported there and I called them. I've relocated my situation situation office to 31. Before midnight, the signboard was erected and I started. That was how we started that place.
Having overcome the problem of securing a befitting office accommodation for the NIC and improving on its funding by the government, Justice Adejumo was soon confronted with more challenges. He met yet again another dead end. This time around, the issue centered on the jurisdiction of the NICN itself. For 25 years since the inception of the NICN in 1976, the court had remained practically moribund. It was clearly unknown by Nigerians and its decisions and pronouncements hardly respected. To his bewilderment, he discovered that the law establishing the NICN was just an omnibus law. So its operations was limited and its judgments barely respected. Something had to be done to change the situation if the court was to play its critical role in the society. Justice Adejumo did not allow this shortcoming deter him. After all, he had already been warned about the situation at the NICN, and there was no going back. He was therefore resolute in his determination to change the situation for the better.
As a matter of fact, the court was not even really respected, in the real sense of it, because at that time, the court had no constitutional status. Cases then went to National Industrial Court either by a referral from the Honorable Minister of Labour or by exercising a right of appeal from the Industrial Arbitration Panel.
How they see the judgments, have they have any effect? They are not respected by the sector for which they were established, which is the industrial relations sector, the labor sector.
He soon set to work, and his hard work paid off in 2006 when the National Assembly passed the National Industrial Court Act 2006, strengthening the rules of the court and its ability to enforce judgment. The Act also repealed parts of Decree No. 7 of 1976 and reduced some of the jurisdictions of the High Courts that was shared with the NICN. That marked a turning point in the history of the court and its ability to enforce its judgments, for in effect, the 2006 NIC Act sought to make the National Industrial Court of Nigeria a court of superior records. But no sooner was the National Industrial Court Act 2006 passed than it began to generate controversies among legal minds and constitutional lawyers. And the argument among the jurists was that a mere act of the National Assembly was not enough provision to confer the status of Court of Superior Records on the NICN. Something much more fundamental needed to be done to achieve the status. The controversy generated by the NIC Act 2006 came to a head during a ruling by the Supreme Court of Nigeria over a case involving the Bureau for Public Enterprises (BPE) and the National Union of Electricity Employees, in which the Apex Court ruled against the National Industrial Court of Nigeria as a superior court of record, but subordinate to the High Courts, notwithstanding the provisions of the 2006 NIC Act.
The argument was that, look, you cannot create a court of superior record outside the Constitution.
A mere act of National Assembly was not enough to address the missing link, which is that the court is not among those mentioned in the Constitution and embedded there, provided for as a superior court of record.
If you look at the hierarchy of laws, the Constitution is the ground. It is the father of all other laws, as it were.
The Supreme Court ruling was a big blow and a major setback for Justice Adejumo and the NICN, and it appeared that the desire to make the Industrial Court a superior court of records had finally been buried. Or so it seemed. After all, the Supreme Court had spoken and its decisions on judicial matters was final. But like the cat with 9 lives, there was still a way out of the crisis. The Apex Court, in its wisdom during its judgment, had also preferred a solution to how the NICN could get out of the quagmire and attain the status of a superior court of records. An amendment of the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria through the National Assembly. This solution seemed impossible because of the arduous procedure it would require to amend the constitution of the country. But Justice Adejumo and his team were determined to make this route, no matter what it would cost, and they soon set to work. Thus began a tortuous journey. Through a memo raised to the Chief Justice of Nigeria, the President of the Senate, as well as the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and hearings in the National Assembly, as well as the 36 state houses of assembly, the amendment of the 1999 Constitution was kick-started. On the 4th of March 2010, victory was finally achieved when the National Assembly passed the third alteration of the 1999 Constitution, thus finally making the National Industrial Court of Nigeria a superior court of records with its own powers and jurisdiction. It was victory at last. Finally, NICN could now take its pride of place in Nigeria's judicial landscape.
So today, the court is a superior court of record, and it's number 4 on the hierarchy of courts in Nigeria.
And so it became a constitutional court in the sense like any other court. It became a court of records.
It's not an easy thing to achieve an amendment to the Constitution in Nigeria. It's not a tea party at all.
In fact, you should call the third edition in Nigeria as Adejumo Constitutional Amendment, if you want to be fair to him. In America, there are amendments to the American Constitution that they name them after those who were the facilitators. The third alteration to the Nigerian Constitution should be called Adejumo Amendment, because he put in everything he had to achieve that.
As mentioned earlier, staff strength at the NICN when Justice Babatunde Adejumo assumed office as president of the court was abysmally low, a mere 123, and majority of who were non-professionals and not conversant with industrial laws. But over the years, personnel of the court has increased in geometric proportions, and today the NICN is endowed with sufficient manpower and professionals capable of manning their various professions and disciplines. What's more, training of personnel is accorded top priority. Over time, many of the NICN staff have received relevant trainings, both at home and abroad, to hone their skills.
Concerning development, I believe in training and retraining. I've sent more than 600 people abroad to learn one thing or the other. When I came, the highest officer apart from the CR was on level 13. That was the only one. And today we have this chief registrar who is the permanent secretary grade, we have directors, and we have deputy directors and assistant directors, and we have about 100 and something lawyers serving in this court as of today, because we need to utilize their services.
I was opportune to be one of those that was trained overseas. Yes. And virtually all the staff my Lord met in National Industrial Court were trained overseas.
Back in 2003, the National Industrial Court of Nigeria had only 3 members who presided over judicial cases. Even then, these members were not addressed as judges, but by their titles or ordinary members. Only the head was addressed by title of judge. Today, that situation has changed, as the scope has been expanded and more judges have been appointed to make the court more effective. From a mere single judge back in 2003, the NICN has witnessed the appointment of 38 additional judges and is in the process of appointing 20 additional ones to enable it meet with the challenges of the ever-increasing number of cases. Also, from a mere 2 divisions in 2003, one in Lagos and the other in Abuja, the reach of the NICN has been replicated in other parts of the Federation, with a total of 26 judicial divisions spread across the country and counting. Plans are in place to open up more divisions in those states of the country without the presence of the court. The increase in the number of divisions has not only brought the court closer to the people, but has also built confidence in the justice system in Nigeria.
We met a one structure court with an outlet in Abuja, so to speak. But he's been able to expand his court into divisions across the country.
If he had his way, Adejumo would want there to be NIC presences practically every senatorial district. If he had his way, knowing the way he thinks, he's a man that enjoys giving service.
Furthermore, to meet the yearnings of Nigerians, to get the court nearer to them in states where there are no divisions, registries where cases can be filed for onward transmission to the nearest division of litigants have been opened. This magnificent edifice, located in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, is yet another eloquent testimony of the Justice Adejumo years at the NICN. Although still under construction and built for completion anytime soon, this edifice will serve as the headquarters of the National Industrial Court of Nigeria when fully completed. This is a far departure from the structure inherited by Justice Adejumo in Lagos as headquarters when he assumed office as president of the NICN back in 2003. Staff of the institution now work under a very conducive environment. The improvement in structure is not limited to Abuja alone. The Adejumo years has witnessed more judicial complexes built across the country to further enhance judicial development by the NICN. The court complexes meet international standards in terms of infrastructure and facilities and are aesthetically attractive. The courtrooms across the nation now look truly magnificent and the pride of many judicial officers who prosecute cases at these courts.
In an improved atmosphere for justice delivery, like you see in the courtrooms at the Industrial Court, of course, people will be happy to come and take their cases and engage in their practice, and the judges will be more relaxed to do their job.
The comfort of its personnel is not limited to the office environment alone. Accommodation for its judges is also accorded top priority. When Justice Adejumo assumed leadership of the NICN, accommodation for its personnel was almost non-existent. The only person that enjoyed this privilege was Justice Adejumo himself. But all that have been confined to the dustbins of history, as the NICN, under the Adejumo years, has witnessed a revolution in staff accommodation. Over 40 houses have been built by the NICN, and all its judges reside in very conducive accommodations owned and leased by the court. From an insignificant status in 2003 to great heights, there is no doubt that within 17 years of service at the NICN, His Lordship, Honourable Justice Babatunde Adeniro Adejumo, has brought his Midas touch to this institution that was once regarded as a dead end and has seen it rise from obscurity to global limelight. The National Industrial Court of Nigeria has indeed witnessed unbelievable transformation through a combination of dynamic vision, hard work, forthrightness and integrity of this erudite justice. It is no wonder that Justice Adejumo has received several awards and commendations from within and without for his outstanding achievements. These awards are too numerous to mention in this video documentary, but suffice us to say a few. In 2008, then President Umar Musa Yar'Adua conferred the National Honour of Officer of the Federal Republic (OFR) on Justice Adejumo for his dedication and selfless service to the nation. Some of the awards conferred on Justice Adejumo over the years include Honorary Award of Commendation 2007 All Nigerian Judges Conference by the National Judicial Institute, the Ondo State Man of the Year Award 2009 for exemplary leadership and service to humanity. Justice Adejumo is a fellow of the Institute of Strategic Management of Nigeria, FISMN, and also a member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, Nigeria and the UK.
He has done very well indeed. He started from scratch. There was nothing on the ground. It was all his effort. Whatever you see in the industrial court today, whatever works in the industrial court today, all that has been due to the efforts put in by Honorable Justice Adejumo.
After a meritorious service to his fatherland spanning over close to 2 decades at the National Industrial Court of Nigeria, and before that, several years as a parliamentarian, judicial officer at the Ondo State Judiciary, and administrator at the Supreme Court of Nigeria, His Lordship Justice Babatunde Adeniro Adejumo, OFR, is set to bow out from service. There is no doubt that this erudite jurist has left a legacy that can best be equalled but not surpassed in Nigeria's judiciary in the discharge of his duties. And just as he had assured then Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mohammed Wais, when he assumed leadership of the National Industrial Court of Nigeria, that he was going to turn the NICN from a dead end to a living entity, Justice Adejumo has exceeded the expectations of even the most ardent critic. For sure, the National Industrial Court of Nigeria, under the Adejumo years, has been transformed from not just a dead end to a living end, but a very healthy and vibrant one.
I came, I saw, and by the grace of God, I think I got